It is time for your favorite Android podcast from the crew of blindandroidusers.com. Kick back and enjoy another fine episode from these Google fanboys as they navigate Android from a blindness perspective. And now, here are your hosts.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 19th episode of Blind Android Users Podcast, recorded on the 17th April 2021. Today's episode is going to be all about cameras. So, today we are going to first have some announcements. Then, we have a small demonstration of the Play Store because things have changed there. Then, we are going to start all about cameras. We're going to demonstrate 3 to 4 different cameras and compare them and lots of good things. Then we have an app of the week called Plenary. And then we have In Focus, where Warren is going to demonstrate Google TV, how to set it up, and all those things. And then we have My Android Journey story from Ahmed. So, welcome to the show, listeners, and grab your popcorn and enjoy this episode. How are you, Warren?
I am doing well, Austin, and today you and I are going to be piloting the ship because some of our members are not here with us today due to circumstances and things like that. We'll then have them back next week. But today, guys, you're lucky. Stuck with us knuckleheads here. So I am doing well. Thank you.
So, today in the announcement section, we have a few announcements. First of all, we have seen a lot of subscribers on our backup site, which is the blind Android users pod site. Now, it is very good that people are subscribing there, but there is some accessibility problem with that website. So, for all the new subscribers, I would recommend that you do subscribe. But to listen to the podcast and to read articles, there is a lot of more information. So please visit blindandroidusers.com because that is our main site. This second site is just a backup site, so you can subscribe and get notifications there. The second announcement is that finally we have finished chopping all our old episodes and uploading them into segments on YouTube. So now, from now on, you will see all new content on the channel. And the third big announcement is we appeared, that is, Warren and myself appeared on RNIB's Tech Talk, and the show will be out on Tuesday at 1 p.m. UK time, and we will have the link to the website in the show notes. So that is it from me for the announcement section. Warren, do you want to continue the Play Store demo?
We will now jump onto the Play Store. And the reason why we're talking about the Play Store, we were going to be talking about it last week, but then we didn't get talking about it last week. And today we'll talk about that. And that has to do with the fact that there has been some changes on the Play Store, most especially with the UI. The hamburger on the top left corner is gone, and that's the one that used to say um, open navigation drawer or something like that. So let's bring up the Play Store and see what has changed and where you could find all of your things. Everything is still there. It's just that they have been rearranged some. So I'm going to open up my Play Store now. Open Play Store.
Play Store. For you. Selected. Heading. Showing items 1 to 5 of 6.
I am using the Eloquence TTS today. So when you open the Play Store, as you could see,
For you. Selected.
there's
Heading.
nothing there at the top like open the navigation drawer. So you have these tabs that TalkBack refers to as headings. You have the For You,
Top charts. Heading.
Top Charts,
Kids. Heading.
Kids,
Categories. Heading. Editor's choice.
and things like that. Now, on the top right corner, however, is where it says your name, and this is where you go in to manage your anything having to do with Play Store.
Signed in as Warren Carr worker at gmail.com account and settings.
So I tap on that, and when you open that, this is what we find.
Signed in as Warren Carr worker at manage your Google account button.
Let's manage your Google account.
My apps and games and list.
My apps and games. You tap here, it will take you to where you could find things like the updates, the beta, the library, and let's do
My
that,
active
shall we?
updates.
You tap on that,
Library.
you have
Installed. Updates selected. Installed. Library. Share.
share,
Beta.
beta. I'm going to tap on
Navigate up button. Play Store.
navigate up
For you selected. Heading.
and go back and tap on my username at the top right corner.
Add signed in as Warren Carr.
And we'll go.
My apps and games.
The question would be, where in the world is my wish list? Now, here's where you'll find your wish list. Let's go down.
Manage your Google account. Button. My apps and games. And list. Library.
There's something called library here, and it's not to be confused with the library that is found where all the apps that you have installed in the past are located. In this new library that is found only when you tap on your username is where you will find things like your wish list and things like that. So let's tap here.
Library. Play Store. Navigate up button. Out of list. Library.
So in this library, here's what we've got.
Wish list. And list. 4 items.
There's your wish list.
Family library. Family library.
Family library.
Movies and TV. Access your library in the app. Click and this will navigate away from the Play Store. Movies and TV. Access your library in the books. Access your library in the app.
And that's what you get in the library. Now I'm going to go back.
Play Store.
And it took me back out. I'm going to go back in here.
Payments and subscription library.
And then
payments and subscriptions.
Payment and subscriptions.
Play Protect.
And Play Protect.
Notifications and offers.
Notifications and offers.
Play Pass.
Play Pass.
Play Points.
Play Points.
Settings.
And Settings.
Help and feedback.
And the last one, of course, is Help and Feedback. And that's the new interface of the Play Store. So when you're looking for things, you know where to find them. Tapping on your username is the key to finding those things. And so we have two libraries, and don't confuse the two. The new one contains your wish list, also contains your family and payment history and things like that, and subscriptions and all of that. And so you go in there to find that. And that would be it about the Play Store that we didn't get to talk about last week.
So this new Play Store layout really confused me because suddenly it got updated on my phone and I opened it and I was like, wow, where is that navigation draw gone? But then I finally clicked on this and that and found it. Now, Warren, there is a question. Some users don't have, even I don't have this thing called Play Pass. Can you talk a bit about Play Pass? What is this Play Pass?
So the Play Pass, I think that it's not available in a lot of countries. And what it is that you subscribe to the Play Pass. Maybe like if you subscribe, we have either monthly subscription or annual subscription. And what that means is that most of the apps that are paid apps, you get them for free because, well, not really for free. You've already paid that subscription. So you get to install those premium apps without buying them. And the problem, though, is that there are not a lot of them on there. But if you're a gamer, though, that's going to be your heaven because a lot of games are part of the Play Pass program. And so now and then you find different developers, opting into the Play Pass. So you buy that Play Pass, subscribe to Play Pass, and be able to get premium apps for nothing because they're part of the program.
That is very good. Now let's move on to the Android basics section, and it's time to open that camera and click a lot of selfies. So, Warren, do you want to start the section?
So we come to now the camera section, and the reason why we're talking about this because we're continuing our journey on the Android basics. We know for sure that when you set up your Android, some things are important. And to those of us who are blind, some people may think, hey, why in the world are you going to be using a camera? You're a blind person and all of that. But the good news is that we have some of the cameras that already tell us whether or not there's a face in the camera and what part of the camera that face is located. So it is important for us to be able to take pictures as long as we have a camera that happens to be one of those that tells us as to whether or not there's a face in our live view. And so there are probably about 4 cameras that we're going to talk about today. Some may not be very good, some may be very good. But we talk about this because some of you may have it and some of you may not have it, but there's always an alternative. And that's the good part about Android. the very first person or the very first company that started making cameras accessible to us and letting us know as to whether or not there's a face in the camera view happens to be, believe it or not, Samsung. And Samsung did that back in 2014 with the Galaxy S5. And so all that we have today in our Android world, most especially when it comes to those of us who are blind, we ought to be thankful to Samsung for making this possible. And so Samsung, kudos to you, my man. So now we have that in Google Camera. I think Google Camera didn't come till 2015 when we were able to have the ability to know as to whether or not there's any face in the camera, and that has to be with the Nexus 6P and the Nexus 5X. Those were the first ones in Google land. So with that, let's take a look at the Google camera. I'm going to be demonstrating the Google camera, and I also happen to have a Galaxy S8 here that a friend of mine sent it to me because they think they don't want it anymore or something like that. So I'm going to be comparing the two, and Austin will be talking about the open camera. That's an alternative for those who do not have access to the Google camera or do not have a Samsung phone and would simply install something like the open camera. And Austin, you'll also be talking about the OnePlus, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to open up mine now.
9:30 a.m. Device unlocked. Pixel launcher. Search.
So I'm going to go to
Voice search.
my camera.
Camera. Switch to camera mode. 0 faces. Close social share. Timer off. Flash off. Motion auto.
So
Image 4:3.
we
Camera.
here,
Take
it
photo
says
button.
0 faces. Now, if I turn it,
One face. Top left. With 30% of screen. One face. Top center. With 30% of screen. Try portrait mode. One face. Top center. With 30% of screen. One face. Center. With 30% of screen.
so
0 faces.
that's the Google camera because I was putting it in the back of the camera to myself. Let me test the front camera.
One face. Center. With 30% of screen. Good for selfie. Try raising camera for your selfie. One face. Center. With 20% of screen. One face. Center. With 30% of screen. Good for selfie. Try portrait mode.
So
Try raising camera for your selfie.
Google camera is really good because it
Pixel
tells me I should raise up the camera, raise up the phone, because if my face is appearing a little bit low at the bottom, then it lets me know. And that's how that works. And of course, if there's anything that is missing that I wish we had, would be the fact that we could be able to quickly label a picture that we just shot, taking a shot of.
Camera.
Right now we don't
Social
have
share.
that. So
0 faces.
if
Camera.
I
Switch to front camera button.
now if I take a picture of my
One face. Bottom center. With 40% of screen. Good for selfie. One face. Center. With 30% of screen. Take photo button. Try portrait mode. Photo taken.
so I
Camera.
just
One face.
took a picture
Center.
of
With
me.
30% of screen.
Now what I was
One
talking
face.
about
Left.
is that
Photo gallery
I
button.
wish we could
One
have
face.
something to
Photos.
rename the
Photo taken
picture
on April.
that I just taken. So I went into my gallery.
Photo taken on April 17th, 2021, 9:32:21 a.m. Back to camera button. Out of
So
filter. Motion on button.
it would be nice if we have a rename
Cast.
here.
Disconnected. All photos. More options.
In the more options, all I have
2
is
recommended shots. Location. Map of the location at which the photo was taken. Button.
see,
Location. 2 recommended shots.
that's it. So and I
Photo taken on share. Photo taken on April 7th. Photo taken on
the
April 17th.
share
20 share. Photo taken on April. Back to camera. But motion on. Cast. All photos. More options. Share button.
and that's
Photo taken on
all
April
I
17th.
have. And I cannot for instance say, hey, I want to rename it. So I have to go into my gallery using like a file manager or something like that, and then rename the picture to say, hey, my knucklehead or something like that, just in case you want to send a picture of you to that little squeeze of yours or some friend of yours. You need to label that so you could distinguish yours from others. And so that's one shortcoming that I notice about our Google camera. All right, let's go on now to Samsung camera. I have the Samsung Galaxy S8 here. We'll go take a look at that and see how it compares to the Google camera.
Camera. Rear camera. Preview.
So let's see.
One face has been detected and is located in the center at the top of the screen. Device too close to subject. 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 Device too close to
I have
subject.
moved it like an arm's length. I'm going to switch the front camera and
Record button. Switch camera button.
Okay.
Front camera. Preview. Take selfies easily. Once your face has been recognized, tap the heart rate sensor to take a selfie, or hold your hand out with your OK button. OK. One face has been detected and located in center of screen.
All right.
Shutter button.
Oh, I took a selfie of me. So that is how the Samsung one is, and I'm not sure if it has a renaming feature that is missing in the Google camera. I'm going to take a look.
Recent button. Back. Shutter button. Record button. Shutter button. Quick view button.
Maybe in the quick view.
Gallery. Transform button. April 7th. Double dash tap to activate. Double dash tap and hold to long press.
There's the April.
April 17th, 2021, 9:36 a.m. image flash 19 April 17th, 2021, 9
Okay, so just like the Google camera, though, we don't have a way to rename the picture easily. So that is one of the shortcomings, because for a blind person, when you're taking a picture, it would be good to be able to rename that picture right away so you remember who it is or what it was. In the order that you want to send it to someone, you know exactly where to go to. Because in this case, what it is that after finishing the picture, you're going to go into your camera folder using something like a file manager, finding that last picture there and rename it. And that's not too bueno. That would be those two cameras. Austin?
So now I'm going to demonstrate the OnePlus camera, which is not accessible much, but fixed some part of it. The dialer and the camera are the two kind of inaccessible part on OnePlus phones. So let us see the OnePlus camera. So, so on the top we have this unlabeled button, which I don't know what it does. Let's click and see.
Done. Matt. Vivid. Sarek. 0.6 times.
So it shows you some, I think this is some background or something.
Vivid.
Let's
Matt.
close it.
Done. Unlabeled. Done. Matt. Vivid. Back. Home button. 2 times camera. 1. 0. Gallery. Unlabeled. 0.6 times.
Then we have the 0.6 times. Now what it does is this phone has a lot of cameras, wide angle and all those things, so you can switch to different cameras and things, but this is not accessible as usual.
1 times.
This 1 times, it does the same thing.
2 times. Slow motion.
Now this part is a little accessible, that it reads the slow motion and all.
Video.
This is video. Photo.
Portrait.
And you can take portrait shots.
Nightscape.
Now Nightscape is using low light.
Google Lens button.
And it has Google Lens, which is nice.
Timer.
And timer you can set.
Flash.
You can turn flash on, off, auto.
Flash button. Super macro off.
Super macro.
Super macro off button. Aspect ratio.
And this is the aspect ratio. So if you're a pro photographer, you could set settings in there, but I'm not going into that.
Aspect ratio button. Unlabeled button. Switch camera button.
And again, there's this unlabeled button. I don't know what it does.
Switch camera button.
And there's a switch camera. You can switch from back end to front camera.
Unlabeled. Gallery button.
So one of these unlabeled buttons is the shutter button. That is the most inaccessible thing. Okay, now let's see if OnePlus tells you if there is a face or something.
Switch camera. Unlabeled button.
So I'm pointing at my face, but nothing is being said. It's an arm's length from the face and nothing is being said. Let's switch the camera and see.
Aspect ratio button. Aspect ratio. Super macro off button. Super macro. Super aspect ratio. Button. Switch camera button.
And it switched to front camera, and even that does not tell you that there is a face.
Unlabeled button. Camera. Settings.
Okay, so the top unlabeled button
Unlabeled button.
takes you to settings.
Smart scene recognition. Back button.
And there's a lot of things there.
Selfie photo. Check on.
But
Switch.
luckily
Camera.
things are very accessible here.
Smart scene recognition. Intelligent. Here. Long press shutter. Record video. Video. Heading 6 of 18. Back button. Out of. Camera. Switch camera. Unlabeled.
The unlabeled button under the switch camera will be the shutter button. Okay, so the unlabeled button under the switch camera button is the shutter button. It can be labeled.
Top back menu. Add label. In list.
Add label.
Add label. Label text. Edit box. Out of. Keyboard. Voice input.
take photo.
Cancel. Okay. Button. Camera. Take photo.
And that should now be labeled. So yes, OnePlus camera is really, it's inaccessible, but they're working on it, and we'll have to report bugs to the OnePlus developers. But I don't know what OnePlus does, because on the OnePlus 7 Pro, things are more accessible. It does not announce the face and all, but it's very, like, everything is labeled properly. So that was the short demonstration of the OnePlus camera. Now let us switch to open camera. And this one,
Home button.
fortunately,
OnePlus launch.
is very
Apps
accessible.
list.
All right. Now you go ahead and demonstrate the open camera. For those of you who don't have neither the Samsung camera nor the Google camera, this is a good alternative, which is the open camera. We have others in that class, but those are paid ones, and we're not going to talk about those ones. But if it so necessitates, then next time we'll talk about those. But right now, we'll talk about the open camera.
So yeah, even if you have the OnePlus camera, definitely you can switch to open camera because it is very accessible,
10:16 p.m.
as you will
Open
see
camera is using your camera.
in a
Capture change.
short while.
Landscape. Settings button. Out of grid. Exposure button. Set.
So on the top of the camera, on the top of the app, you have the settings.
Settings button. Portrait. Lock screen. Selected. Airtel. Not recognized. Device unlocked. Open camera. Settings button. Gallery button. Settings button. Gallery button. Pop-up settings. Exposure button. Lock exposure button. Switch between multiple cameras button.
And here you have that multiple cameras that I was talking about. Let's see what it does. So this is one of the area that it does not tell you whether it has switched to back camera or front camera. I wish they would do that.
Switch to front camera button.
But here there's a button called switch to front camera
Take photo button.
and take photo. So everything is labeled
video mode
nicely.
100% zoom slider.
This is the zoom slider. You can zoom in and out with volume keys.
Switch.
Let's just go to
Camera.
settings
More camera.
and see
Repeat mode interval. Repeat off. Timer off.
what is there.
Yes. Processing set. Locate. Camera preview. More camera control. Repeat mode. Repeat. Timer off. Camera control. 1. Camera controls in list. Face detection. Use face detection instead of focus areas on. Switch.
So if you install open camera for the first time, face detection may be disabled, and you need to enable face detection by going into settings of the app.
Timer off.
And there's timer,
Repeat off.
there's repeat,
Repeat mode interval. No delay.
there's no delay, so
More camera
there's no. And here you have more camera controls where there are advanced settings like
More camera controls.
exposure and all
Touch
those
to capture.
things.
Take a photo just by touching or double tapping the preview in list. Pause after taking photo. Pause the screen after taking a photo with the option to share or delete the photo. Off. Switch. Shutter sound. Play sound when taking a photo. On. Switch. Timer beep. Beep when timer is counting down or for repeat mode delay. On. Switch. Voice timer countdown. Speak the countdown for timer. Volume keys. Take photo or start stop video recording. Audio control options. Take photo video when a noise is detected or on voice command. When enabled. Audio control sensitivity. Noise level sensitivity for audio. Loud noise option. Bluetooth or remote control. Lock photo video orientation. If set, the orientation of the device will be ignored, and the orientation of the photo video will be with respect to the specified orientation. No lock. Save location. Folder to save the photo video files in. Use storage access framework. Whether to use storage access framework for saving photos and videos. This should be enabled to allow saving to external SD cards. On Android 10 Plus, this option must be enabled if you want to save in a folder outside of DCIM. Off. Switch.
Now, if you want your photos to be saved outside the DCIM folder, then you have to enable this.
Save photo prefix. The prefix to use for the save file names for photos. Save video prefix. The prefix to use for the save file. Time format for file name. Local time. Show camera when locked. If enabled, open camera will still show above any lock screen. You'll still have to unlock to access settings, gallery, etc. On. Switch. Perform autofocus on startup. Whether to autofocus when open camera is started. If you have the problem. Calibrate level angle. This. Use storage access framework. Whether to use save photo prefix.
So that is it
Back
from
button.
the settings.
Open camera. More camera control. Camera preview. On screen way.
Then you have the preview, you have on screen, that is more for sighted
Photo
users.
and video settings.
You can adjust your photo and video settings.
Photo settings. Video settings. Location settings.
These will have things like quality, your resolution in video, and all those things. So you can set it accordingly. I'm not going to go into that.
Processing settings. MISC. Online help. Launch. Camera 8. About. App and debug. Camera API. Select camera 2 API to enable extra features such as manual modes for exposure, focus, white balance, along with ROC is supported by the device. Changing the API will cause a restart. Original camera API.
So camera API, if it's supported by your phone, then you can select this and you'll get some more advanced features, although it's not required. This is only if you are a pro photographer and you need exposure and all those things then.
About. Privacy policy. Open source license. Settings manager. Settings button. Out of. Gallery button.
So that
Pop-up
is
settings
it
button.
from the
Exposure button.
settings. So now we are going to take a photo and see if it detects face. If it shows you that the face has been detected, so I'm
One face at left of
pointing.
screen. One face at left of screen.
So it is detecting the face
One face at center.
and it's saying it's center.
One face at center.
Now I have my phone very close to my face and it does not tell me that I'm
Zero faces.
very close. But if I take my phone extremely close, then it tells me
One
zero
face at center.
faces.
One face at left of screen. One face at center. Zero faces. One face at center.
So I took the photo, and
One face
while
at left of
taking
screen.
the photo,
Zero
it
faces.
says zero faces.
Zero faces.
Now, if I switch to
Switch
the
to front camera
front
button.
camera,
Open camera is using your camera. Tap to change. One face at right of screen. One face at bottom of screen. One face at center.
the front camera
One face at
gives
bottom of
you
screen.
more information.
One face at center.
So now it tells you one
One
face
face at
at
bottom of screen.
center,
One face at center.
but it still does not tell you
One face at
that
bottom of
you are
screen.
too close to your
Zero faces.
to your phone. Now let's see if you can label the image.
Take photo button. Switch to video
So
mode button.
let's go to
100%.
gallery.
Settings button. Exposure button. Lock exposure. Settings button. Portrait. Location settings in list. Open source licenses. Settings man. Open about. Gallery button. Gallery button. Allow photos to access photos and media on. Deny button. Allow button. Photo taken on April 17, 2021, 10 hours, 20 minutes and 50 seconds. Back to camera button. Photo taken on April 17, 2021, 10 hours, 20 minutes and 50 seconds PM in pager.
So this is the photo we just took, and let's select it by long press.
Back to camera. Photo. Back to camera. All photos. More options. Share button. More options. Photo taken on April. Delete from device. Use as. Slideshow. Print. Help and feedback. Saturday, April 7th. Details.
No, there is no
Slash storage slash. OnePlus AC200. Close info button.
there's
Close info
no
button.
easy way again to rename
Photo taken on April
your
7th. Back to camera
photos.
button. Out of pager.
That is the most unfortunate thing in all the four cameras that we spoke about, that there's no way to rename the image, and that should be included in the camera gallery.
And I think the reason why we don't have that is because, like we always say, though, no one is really thinking of us. And when I talk about us, I mean those of us who are blind. And the reason has to be for the fact that, when sighted people took pictures, they recognize who they see. And so they know this is Warren, this is Austin, or whoever it is that they're looking at. So there's no need for them naming pictures. And so they're coming from that mindset. And as a result of that, we don't have a rename or things like that. But I think now that, we are making these things accessible to blind people, I think it would be a good thing for manufacturers to start doing that and putting the renaming feature in there instead of me going through using my file manager to be able to rename pictures. That's no bueno.
Now sometimes I think, now okay, there is app like Lookout. If you do explore mode and all, you can come to know that okay, here is this, here is the stairs, here is the tree or whatever. But sometimes I think, what if camera apps could like recognize objects and tell us like, okay, this is a tree, you're so close to the tree or you're far from the tree, is good for photos. Warren, do you think this will happen in the future?
That should be something that should happen. However, like I said, and I've always argued that it is not always easy for those of us who are blind to take pictures. Say I want to take a picture of a dog and it sees it and it says it's a dog. And I don't know whether it's seeing that because it sees the feet of the dog or whether it sees the back end of the dog. I want to take a picture of the dog. I want to show the face of the dog as well. And until we have those type of things, it's going to be really hard for us to be, really, really good at taking for the, pictures and things like that. I'm not saying that it's not possible, but especially with objects, it's a little bit tricky. And I think third-party solutions may be the best route to go. But I think that as we get a handle on these things more and more accessibility is being talked about in the communities, most especially among the manufacturers and things like that. I believe that definitely one of these days we're going to get there to where we too can be doing really good photography and things like that. But until then, I don't know, Austin. What do you think?
Yeah, especially it's going to be difficult to take photos of moving objects. That is going to be really difficult unless some kind of technology comes, but it's going to be really difficult because there is a time delay when the camera focuses to the time we click take photo. So that is going to be very difficult.
At least though, for now though, we could take pictures of people, and most especially, if
Yeah,
you want
that
to
is
take a picture
important.
of someone, it lets you know if that whether or not they're in the center of the thing, whether they're at the bottom and things like that. And therefore, one could adjust it to one's liking and make sure you have a good shot. And so it's a good start. It's definitely a good start.
When I went out, I took a photo of my friend, and my friend was so surprised that I took an exact photo, and they were like, how is it possible?
And most especially if you're doing it so, maybe I have my headset on so they're not hearing my camera or my
Yeah,
phone
they didn't
talk.
know. I just made the volume low.
Oh my gosh. So some things kind of actually work to our own advantage in a way if you think of it. So that's good.
So that is it from the Android basic section. And now let's move to the in focus section. Now, from the past 2-3 weeks, we have been having roaming episodes, but I thought let's take a break from that, for maybe 1-2 weeks, and let's demo something else. So, Warren, do you have a surprise for our listeners this week?
This week, let's take a look at the Google TV, aka Chromecast from 2020. So, this is from last year, and this is the Google TV that we'll be talking about. It's going to be a two-part series, and we'll talk about how to set it up and how to reset the device in case you want to give it away or you want to sell it. So, in focus for this week, we're going to be demonstrating the Google TV, Part 1. This is part one of a two-part series on the Google Chromecast, aka Google TV. Back in 2013, Google came out with a revolutionary thing called the Google Chromecast. This is a little hockey puck device that hooks up to an HDMI port that transforms your TV, even an old one, into a new device. Using this device, one is able to cast content from the phone. For example, if you're watching something on YouTube, you could cast it to your TV via that Chromecast. Google would continue with this for a few number of years until last year, 2020, when they came out with a new device called the Google TV. The difference between this and the other ones before this one is the fact that, unlike the other ones in previous years where you needed the Google Home app to control this device, this 2020 version does not rely on the Google Home app. It is this 2020 Chromecast device or Google TV that we are here today. In part one, we're going to be talking about setting up the device and exploring some of the things found on the device. In part two, we will be talking about resetting the device just in case you want to sell it or give it to someone else. With all of that said, let's go ahead and get started on this. But first, I want to talk about what's in the box. I'm usually not the one to talk about so much of the box as most people would like to do, but I like to tell you that in the box, you're going to find the following. You're going to find a USB cord, you're going to find a wall charger, you're going to find a device, and you're also going to find a remote and a couple AAA batteries. Unlike the other Chromecast devices, however, this one does not utilize a micro USB port but utilizes a USB-C port. So the cord you find here has USB-C input. One end of the device goes to the Chromecast or the Google TV, and that will be the USB-C part, and the USB-A part goes to the wall charger. The next thing I want to talk about is the remote because that's the most important one, and the remote has a total of 9 buttons. At the very top of the remote, there's a large D-pad or a 4-way navigational pad with a depression in the middle which acts as the selector or the enter key. So in essence, you have the up arrow, then below the depression in the middle, there's a down arrow. To the right of the depression is your right arrow, and to the left is your left arrow. So we got up, down, left, and right. Next, directly below the D-pad on the left side of the remote, we've got 4 buttons. And these buttons are back, home, YouTube, and power. So going from top to bottom, on the left side, we've got back, home, YouTube, and power. On the right-hand side below the D-pad, what we've got are assistant, mute, Netflix, and input. Those are the buttons on the remote. On the right-hand side of the remote near the top, we have a volume bar. And this is a long volume bar demarcated by a little depression to denote where the up and down volumes are. And that will be the physical description of the remote. Now that I've talked about the remote, it's time to get that thing set up. I'm going to go ahead now and plug it in and let's get started. While it is true that you can completely set this up on your own because of the accessibility settings found in this, the most important thing is to make sure that the TV is tuned to the port that you have the Chromecast plugged in. And that would be the part that you may need a sighted person's help. I will now turn on my TV and proceed with the setup. I just turn on the TV, and it's going to be followed by some chime, and that chime or those chimes are going to be coming from the Chromecast. So I'm letting it load up until you hear that chime. There we go. So if you leave it on, you'll keep hearing that chime again and again. Now, in order to be able to get it started in accessibility mode, the first thing we would like to do is to hold down both the back key and the home key found on the left side. So I'm going to hold those two down and you'll hear a different kind of chime. So here I go, holding down the 2 buttons, the back and the home key simultaneously down together. Here I go. There we go. That's the chime that we're looking for. Now that we heard that chime, I've let go of those 2 buttons. And now to bring up talkback, what I need to do is to hold down the down arrow on the D-pad together with the back key, which is just directly on the left side below the down arrow. So I'm going to hold those 2 together now to bring up talkback. Hold it down for 3 seconds.
Press and hold both the back and down buttons for 3 seconds to use talkback.
I have let go of the 2 buttons. Now I'm going to hold them down again to enable talkback.
Talkback on. Language selection.
We are now on the language selection, and I'm going to go down arrow and hear the languages that have TTS support.
English, United States. Enlist.
Go down.
Press.
Whichever.
Español, Estados Unidos.
There's Espanol.
Afrikaans. Press select to activate.
Afrikaans. That one doesn't have TTS support. Let's go down. I'm giving them a little bit of time because if it's a different language, it may take it a little bit of time to load the TTS for that particular language. And if I'm not hearing something after a few seconds, I'm going to go down. Let's see if we hear anything from this one. Let's go down. I am waiting. So there's Deutsch, that's German.
English, Australia. English, Canada. English, India. English, Ireland. English, United Kingdom. Español, España.
No Italiano or something like that? What's going on? Come on, man.
Français, Canada. Français, France.
Where's Italiano or something like that? Okay, as you can tell, most of the languages are not being supported, or you don't have a TTS for those ones.
Italiano.
Ah, there's Italiano
Press
there.
select to activate.
All right, let's go down one more time. See what else we have here. I'd almost imagine that there'll be Japanese, but I'm not hearing it. Let's go down one more, just for giggles, huh? Well, I'm going to go back to the US English.
English Canada.
Deutsch.
Español, Estados Unidos.
English United States.
And we will hit the select button here to select English United States.
Select your Wi-Fi network.
The next thing is to select our Wi-Fi, and I'm going to go down here.
The mesh in list.
Select.
Enter password for the mesh. Password box, edit box, in list. Showing
Upon
password
selecting
keyboard.
my Wi-Fi, I'm directly placed in an edit box to type in my password for the Wi-Fi. You use the arrow keys to move through the letters. Once you find the letter you're after, simply hit the select key to activate that particular letter. So for instance, mine starts with star @ I'm going to show you how we do those, and then I'll finish the other ones offline.
Symbol keyboard.
Hit select,
Showing symbol key. More symbols. Asterisk.
star.
Asterisk.
I'm going to go up to @
Pound. Add. Add.
All right. Now I'm going to finish the rest of it offline, and then I'll be right back once I input the last character.
Exclamation mark. Period.
I just finished my input. Now I'm going to go to next.
Comma. Next. Connecting to the mesh. Symbol keyboard hidden. Connected. Please wait. Gboard updating your typing experience. System status. Sign in. Sign in. Use your Google account.
We are now placed on the signing in with our Google account. I'm going to go down arrow and go find my letters and put in my username.
W. Whiskey. W. S. A. A. Q. W. E. R. R. F. C. C. F. D. S. A. A. Q. W. E. R. R. R.
And if I up arrow, I'm going to find where it says @gmail.com.
Warcare. Warcare@gmail.com.
Hit enter
Go.
and hit
At
go.
gmail. Hi Warren. System status.
The next
choose
thing
input
now
method,
is to put in
English,
my
US,
password,
keyboard.
and I'm once again going to do
Showing
this
password
offline.
keyboard.
I'll be right back. All right, I just put in the last character of my password, and now I'm going to go
T.
down
G. V. Space.
to the space bar
Press
row
select to
and
activate.
right arrow to go.
Dash. Underline. Go. Password keyboard hidden. Two-step verification. This extra step shows it's really you trying to sign in.
Next, we're on a page that has a two-step verification because I've enabled that on my account. So I'm going to right arrow till I find where it says tap yes on your phone.
Sign in. Google. Two-step This extra step. War carriage. Try another way to use your security. Can't find an eligible. Tap yes on your phone or tablet.
So I tap here, I click there,
Two-step sign in.
and now
Google
I
accounts
grab my
club view.
phone to see if it sent it to
2:40
me.
PM. Device unlocked. Google Play Store. Just now. Time. Moxie. What? Just now. Yes. Button. Web view.
Resend it.
Loading. Pixel launcher.
So I
Button.
tap
Don't see
that,
the sign in
and it's signing me in.
Suggestions. Screen off.
Terms of service be continuing. You agree to the Google terms of
We
service.
are now
Google
on a
privacy
page where we
policy,
agree
and
to the
Google Play
agreements
terms of
and all of
service.
that stuff. So I'm
This
going to go
device
down
may
and just
also receive and
accept,
install
accept,
updates
accept,
and
and
apps
go.
from Google. Your devices may accept in list. Press. Please wait. Additional legal terms be clicking. I agree. Google services select each to learn more. Accept in
About
list.
services,
Google Assistant.
this part about the assistant, and I'm just going to go ahead and accept it.
Continue in list. Search across all your TV apps. To do this, allow it to share
I'm
your
going to go
requests
to
with your
allow.
TV. Allow in list. Activate voice match on this TV. Your assistant can already recognize you by your voice and tell you apart from others.
I'm going to go to
Voice
next.
match allows. I agree in list.
Agree.
Get personal results. Turn on personal results to access your calendar, reminders, and more. I agree in list.
On this page, which is the next page, is a bunch of selection of the different apps that would be installed on the Google TV. Now you could choose to not install them if you don't want some of them, but some of them will require subscription even if you install them. And some of these include
Not checked ESPN. Not checked Stars. Not checked Viki, stream Asian drama, movies and TV shows.
So if you check those,
Press
you are
select
saying, hey, don't
toggle.
install those, or else by default, they are going to be installed. So I'm going to go up and go find
checked.
the confirm
Not checked.
near the top
Not checked.
right.
Not checked Netflix. Your services confirm.
Upon hitting confirm, then it's
Control
installing
volume and
those.
power with your Chromecast remote.
We now get to that part where we're going to check our volume and all of that. So I'm going to go to next.
Set up remote button.
Set up remote
Press
rather.
select to activate. If you want to use your phone, voice commands are compatible displays to control the power and volume, or if you want to change your remote button setup, open Chromecast settings on this TV later.
So here we are on a page where we could set up the remote to be able to control the Chromecast using the remote to turn up the volume and change channels and things like that. So I'm going to go ahead now and go to set up
Completing
remote.
setup. Not now button.
There's not now.
Set up remote button.
Set up remote. I
Press
click
select
here.
to activate. To set up volume controls, choose what you'll use to play sound.
Now, what this means is that whether you're going to be using like a sound bar, you're going to be using something like an audio video device, or directly on the TV. And I'm going to be using the TV itself. So I'm going to go down and choose just the TV.
TV button.
There's the TV.
Press soundbar.
Sound bar.
AV receiver
And
button.
AV receiver. So I'm
Press
going to go
select to
back up
activate.
to TV and hit the select button.
Soundbar. TV button.
Hit select.
What's the brand of your TV?
Next,
Samsung
we're
button
on a
in
page that has all the
Press select
TV
to activate.
selections. So if you have a brand, you want to make sure that you choose the appropriate brand. We're sitting on a Samsung TV. I'm going to go down through the list a little bit and come back and choose mine, which is going to be the Panasonic.
LG button. Sony button. Vizio button. Panasonic button. TCL button. Hisense button. Philips button. Amark button. Avex button. Acer button. Action button. Admiral. Advent button. Adventura. Ico button. Iowa button. Akai button. Akura button. Alarin button. Albatron button. Alarin button. Amazon button. Ambassador button. Ampro button.
As you can see,
Press
there's
select to
lots and
activate.
lots of brands here, and we're still under letter A. So I'm going to go back up to where it says Panasonic, and that will be mine.
Avex button. Vizio button. LG button. Samsung button. LG. Sony button. Vizio button. Panasonic button.
There's my
Press select to
Panasonic.
activate.
I hit select here.
You'll hear music next. If you can't
Next,
hear
we're
it,
going to
make sure the
tap on
volume is
next.
turned up.
And if it's correct, then we'll hear some music coming out of it. If we don't hear music, then we're going to repeat the process. I'm going to right arrow now to the next button.
Next button. Point the Chromecast remote at your TV and toggle the volume up and down.
So now I'm going to check my volume.
Do the volume
I'm
buttons
going up
work?
and down, and it's
Dashboard,
working. So I'm
dashboard.
going to right arrow to yes.
Yes button. Next, you'll set up the power button.
Next, it has to do with the power. And
Dashboard, dashboard.
in order to be able to make sure that we're able to turn the TV on and off with this remote, we want to make sure that we set up the device to work with the TV. So I'm going to go right,
Next button.
click on next.
Press the power button once. The TV should turn off. Wait at least 8 seconds. Don't press any buttons. Press the power button again. The TV should turn on.
So we're being told that here we need to hit the power button, and remember the power button is that
Setup
last one
complete.
on the
Installed
left.
13 out of 13 applications.
I'm sorry. So I was saying that what we have now is the power button found on the left-hand side, the little one on the left-hand side, the last one at the bottom. And I'm going to hit that and wait for 8 seconds and then turn it back on. I just hit that power button and I'm going to wait for 8 seconds to elapse and then I'm going to turn it back on. I would like to believe that I've already spoken for about 8 seconds now. And now I'm going to turn it back on. See if it comes on. All right, I hit that power and I heard the TV made some noise, indicating that that power is coming back on. So now I'm going to hit my right arrow to see if I hear yes or no.
Yes button.
So that's
Press select to activate.
it's asking me, hey, did it come back on? And I said yes. I hit
Your
select.
Chromecast remote is set up. If you want to use your phone, voice commands are compatible displays to control the power and volume, or if you want to change your remote button setup, open Chromecast settings on this TV later.
All right,
Next button.
I hit next.
Installing your apps 14 minutes left. Completing setup Google Play. Completing setup Google Play.
So I'm told that it's going to take 14 minutes, but it's not going to take 14 minutes to install my
Setup
apps
Wizard.
because it was installing in the
Main
background.
user home screen.
I am now on the home screen and I'm going to down arrow.
Start exploring button.
I'm
Press
going to
select to activate.
click on Start Exploring. When you hit the Start Exploring, then you're on the home now where we have the different tabs at the top. And so we have
Search. Press select to activate.
Search
For you.
for you,
Movies.
movies,
Press select to activate.
and these are tabs. So once you move to a tab, you can down arrow to find what is below that tab. So for instance, I am on movies. If I down arrow, we're going to hear the movies that are available right here from the home screen. Some of them will require that you have a subscription to whatever channel they're coming through.
Mars attacks. Martians wreak havoc on Earth and kidnap
Down
the
arrow
chat show
again.
host. 1 of 5 in Godzilla vs. Kong requires HBO Max subscription. Enlist popular movies 50 items.
I'm going to go back
Press
up to the
select to
tabs and
activate.
explore the remaining of those tabs.
Mars attack. Movies out of list.
Go right.
Shows. select
Shows.
to
You
activate.
go down, you find those shows. For example, let's go down a couple.
Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. The women face the challenges of work-life balance. 1 of 5 in list 5 items. Real World Road Rules Challenge requires Philo subscription. Enlist popular shows 50 items.
All right, I'm
Press
going to go
select
up
tab.
to the
Real
tabs again.
Housewife shows out of list.
Go right.
Apps. Press
Apps.
select to activate.
And these are apps that you can install on your Google TV. If I go down here,
Pluto TV Android app. Enlist 5 items.
these are apps that
Press
are
select
already
to activate.
installed. Remember, we had that place where we had the selection of those. This is one of those apps that have been installed. I'm going to go back up to the tabs.
Apps out of list.
Go right.
Library.
Library,
select
that
to
would be
activate.
your library that you have things in. If I have,
Amityville, The Awakening. Enlist purchased movies 26 items.
so these are some of the
Press
things that
select
I
to
already
activate.
have in my library. I'm going to go up,
Library out of list purchased movies.
then I'm going to go
Press
right.
select tab. Profile settings. Currently logged in as Warren Carr.
And that's the
Press
last
select to
tab on the
activate.
top right. Now, this is where we want to go in to explore the system settings. And that's the profile settings. So I hit select
Dashboard.
and go down to settings.
Warcare. Row 1. Settings. Row 2. Column
Hit
1.
select.
Settings.
So here's what we have.
Settings out of list. Suggestions. Heading 1 of 11 in list 11 items.
Go down.
Set your device name. Use this name when casting photos, videos, and more from your phone. 2 of 11.
So here we could hit
Press
the
select to
select button
activate.
here to go assign it a name. You want to call it a bedroom TV, you want to call it a master bedroom TV, or you could even customize it and give it a name, say dog or two dogs in a pond or whatever you want to call it. So let's hit the select button here and see what we have.
Settings.
Let's go down.
Chromecast 1 of 10. In
You
list
could
10 items.
select Chromecast
Press
and just
select
call
to
it
activate.
Chromecast.
Bedroom TV 2
Bedroom
of 10.
TV,
Den TV 3
den
of 10.
TV,
Dining room TV
dining room
4 of
TV,
Family room TV 5
family
of
room
10.
TV,
Kitchen TV 6
kitchen
of 10.
TV,
Living room TV
living
7
room
of
TV,
Master bedroom
master
TV.
bedroom
Press
TV.
select TV 9 of 10.
This one that just
Press
says
select to
TV.
activate. Enter custom name 10 of 10.
Or enter a
Press
custom
select to
name.
activate.
I'm going to go back by hitting that back key, which is the first one on the left, just below the down arrow.
Settings.
And I'm going to go down. We're still in the system settings.
Set your device name. Use this name when casting photos. General settings. Heading 3. Network and internet the mesh 4 of 11. Accounts and sign in 5 of 11.
Accounts and sign in.
Press
Here you
select to
can go
activate.
in and add an account if you so wish. Let's go down.
Privacy 6 of 11. Press select to activate.
Here you can go in and change the privacy, what you want to be available and what you don't want to be available. I'm going to go down.
Display and sound 7 of 11.
You can go change how long the
Press select
display
to activate.
lasts before the Chromecast turns off and things like that.
Apps 8 of 11.
Apps,
System 9 of 11.
system. Let's go into
Press select.
system and see what we have. Let's go down.
Accessibility 1 of 10. In
Let's
list
take a
10
look
items.
at accessibility.
Captions 1 of 7. High contrast text experiment. Text to speech 3 of 7. Accessibility shortcut 4 of 7. Services heading 5 of. Talkback on 6 of 7. Switch access off 7 of 7.
And that
Press
would
select
be
to
the
activate.
items in accessibility. Let's go back. We are still under system. Let's go down.
Accessibility 1. About 2 of 10. Date and time 3 of 10. Language 4 of 10. Keyboard Gboard 5 of 10.
Keyboard and input.
Press. Storage 6 of 10. Ambient mode 7 of 10. Energy saver 8 of 10. Cast 9 of 10. Restart 10 of 10.
And restart.
Press
I'm going to hit the
select to
back
activate.
key below the down arrow. And we're back in the system settings. Let's go down.
System not. Remotes and accessories 10 of 11.
So if for some reason your
select to
remote wasn't
activate.
working well, you can come back in here and fix it again. Let's go down.
Help and feedback 11 of 11.
Help and feedback.
Press select to activate.
And that would be our system settings. I'm going to hit the home key now, which is the second key below the down arrow on the left side. So I hit that home key
Home.
and we're back
AD,
to
Stream
home.
a perfect planet on Discovery Plus. Start free trial.
And that will be the end of part 1. And next, we will be looking at part 2.
Wow, that was a fantastic demo, and it really showed us how to set that Chromecast up. And sure, it helped our listeners, and that woke up my Google Assistant there. So it was a good demo. So very good. Thank you for that, Warren.
Good. Thank you so much. I hope that people are able to set up their Google Chromecast or Google TV on their own, because it's important that we know how to set up our own devices by ourselves instead of constantly asking someone to help us. And, people have things to do, and sometimes they say, I'm kind of busy, wait, and I'll get with you later and things like that. But with this one, we can set it up on our own.
And now from the In Focus section, let us move to the favorite section, that is App of the Week. And for this section, our app junkie, our app guru, Warren, has got some surprise app for our listeners. So, Warren, can you take it away?
In this week's App of the Week, I'll be talking about an app called Plenary, Plenary. This is an RSS feed
Message.
reader,
News
and it
chat.
also has the capability of a podcast. So I'm going to go into Plenary.
Zoom. Plenary. Plenary. You're not subscribed to any feeds. Select from following options to get started.
When you open it up, it tells you you're not subscribed to any feed. Tap here to add feeds. And then below that, we have
Add new feed. But
add
restore
new
data from locally.
feed.
Restore data from cloud. Button. Restore data from locally exported .zip file. Button. Restore data from cloud. Button.
And then at the bottom of the phone, there are 4 tabs that are not labeled. And one of them is like the settings. That's the one on the farthest right. And the one on the farthest left is the home. That's placing you where we are right now. And then second to it, going right, will be the saved articles. And then the third one is I don't remember what that one does. And then the fourth one is for the settings, where you tap in here and go and find all the settings and things like that. I want to say here in passing, though, that the app is totally free of ads. You can, however, buy the premium subscription and or one-time payment. And the whole reason is you could have different colors and things like that, which is not very important to you and I. It does also have a TTS readout, and you don't have to pay to get that TTS readout. But the very good news about this app is that it lets you do a reader mode as well. So if all you want to do is to use your Braille device or something like that, you can also read it by putting it into that reader mode. So let's go into add new feed and see how you go about adding feed and the different categories in here. And there may be enable buttons
Add
here
new feed
and
button.
things like that. So add new feed.
Add new feed using search feeds and list.
You could search feed.
Local news.
And under local news, when you tap local news, it takes you to a list of countries. You could add local news from those countries. Let's take a quick look.
Plenary. Button unlabeled. Out. Select country.
Select country.
Flag. Australia.
Australia.
Flag. Bangladesh.
Bangladesh.
Flag. Brazil. Flag. Canada. Flag. France. Flag. Germany.
You get the drift. So
Plenary.
let's go down. That was local news.
Restore data from local. Add new feed.
So
Add
we
new
go
feed using
to
search local news. RSS assistant.
there's an RSS assistant, and what this does is that there's a lot of unlabeled
Read RSS
things
feeds
here.
Google News. Row 2.
There's Google News, and then they're arranged in rows. So you got 2 columns, one right, one left, one right, one left, and they all say CV root for some reason.
Fruit. Row 3. Column 1. Fruit. Column 2.
If I tap on that,
Showing English. US. Create feed for Pinterest.
that's for Pinterest
Keyboard hidden.
and things like that. So
row
I'm
5.
going to go back out of here. The
Plenary.
guy has some work to do, but it's a great app.
Add restore data from local. Add new feed.
Let's go to the
Add
one
new
that
feed
I'm
using
after, and that would be the recommended.
Add new feed using out of list. Search feeds and list. Local news. RSS assistant. Recommended feeds. Enter feed URL.
Or you could enter your RSS feed if you know the address,
Import OPML file.
or you can import an OPML file. And so let's go to recommended.
Search feeds. Local news. RSS assistant. Recommender feed URL. Recommended feeds. Plenary. Button unlabeled out of list.
So we got 2 columns. We got left and right. So we got
Android. Row 1.
Android.
Grid. Android development.
Android
column
development.
2. Apple. Row 2. Column. Architecture. Beauty. Row 3. Books. Column 2. Business and cars. Column. Cricket. Row. Interior
I'm
design.
going to scroll to the bottom,
row.
see what we have.
UI/UX. Row 17. Web development. Column 2.
So I'm going to go
Interior
back
design.
up to the
Row 5.
top
Column
and
2.
tap on Android, since we're talking about Android.
Android development. Row 1. Android. Column 1. Plenary. Button.
When you
unlabeled,
tap
print.
on Android, then you have things like
All about Android. Audio. HTTP. Preview. Android. https://blog.google/preview. Android. https.
So to the right of all of these is a preview. You tap there, and you should be able to subscribe from there, say, if you want to subscribe to any of these. So let's say
Preview. Android Authority. https.
Android Authority.
Android Authority. https. Android Authority. http.
Let's scroll up.
Android Authority podcast. http. Android Central. Android Forums. New Android Central podcast. http.
All right.
Android Community. http. Android Police. Android News. Reviews. Apps. Games. Phones.
So
Tablets.
if I want to
HTTP,
preview, I tap that. So I'm now in Android Police.
7 killer tricks for your Pixel phone's camera. 13 minutes ago. JR Raffle. Hey.
So we're talking about pixels. Let's tap on this one.
Plenary. Navigate up. Button out of list.
When I tap on that article, now here's what we got at the top.
Space. Save.
There's save.
Enter reader mode.
Enter reader mode, which is important. I talked about that.
Open an external browser.
You could open it in an external browser. And that, I think, requires subscription.
More options button.
Then the more options,
Pop-up window. Share and list.
you could share,
Enable dark mode.
enable dark mode,
Subscribe to RSS feed.
or you could subscribe to the RSS feed. Now let's go
Plenary.
to the
Enter reader mode.
reader mode,
Plenary. 7 killer tricks for your Pixel phone's camera.
and I just put my finger down and touch it, and it should read it.
This story was originally published 2021/04/15600 AM on April 15th, 2021, and last updated 2021/04/1710:02 AM on April 17th, 2021. Got a Pixel? Then you've got one of the best damn cameras in all the Android land. But hold the phone. Your Pixel camera can do even more than you realize. Sure, it takes
Okay. But you get the drift. So we don't have blind Android users here. I tap on Android, and of course, we've seen that we don't have blind Android users here. At the
Showing
bottom,
items 30.
however, I
Showing
could
items 30.
recommend to them that they should add blind Android users here. So let's see what we do.
Talk Android. HTTP. Suggest your favorite feed.
Suggest your favorite feed, and that's the most important one. So I tap here.
Plenary. Navigate up. Button out of recommended feed suggestion. Recommended feed suggestion. Web view. Recommended feed suggestion. Heading 1. Suggest your favorite blog/podcast/YouTube channel, etc. in this category to be added in recommended feed.
All right.
Category required question. Heading 3. Required question. Category required question. Choose. Enlist. Item 1 of 37.
So I'm going to choose
Android. Enlist. Item 2 of
there's
37.
Android,
Android development. Enlist.
Android
Item 3 of 30.
development.
Android.
So I
Enlist.
tap on Android.
Android. Enlist. Item 2 of 37.
All
Selected.
right.
Category required question. List box. 37 items. Expanded. Enter website URL or RSS feed URL of your favorite feed from this category. Error. Invalid entry.
So you put the web address. In this case, it's going to be blindandroidusers.com.
Edit box. Error. Invalid entry. This is a podcast. Heading 3.
And you're going to indicate whether or not this is a podcast or just an RSS feed.
Yes. Radio button. Not checked. Yes.
All right.
No. Radio button. Not
And
checked.
so we will add blind Android users to this so that if you install this app, you could actually listen to our podcast direct from Plenary. And that will be Plenary.
Wow, that is a fantastic app, and definitely we will be on that app shortly. I think we are going to do it immediately after recording. So look forward to seeing us there.
And I'll be contacting him to make sure those unlabeled buttons are labeled. And then, God willing, if he's able to, I'm going to have him come onto the podcast and talk about the app some more. It's a great app with no ads whatsoever.
Now, finally, let us move to Warren's and mine and all our team members' favorite segment, the My Android Journey segment. And this time we have a very, very interesting Android journey from Ahmed. And Ahmed, can you take the mic over?
Hello friends, this is Haymanot from Ethiopia. I am here to talk about my Android journey based on the invitation by Warren. First of all, excuse me for my English because I got English through learning, not acquired. Ethiopia started using mobile network late because it's a developing country and technological inventions are introduced here late, so we started mobile network after the millennium, I think 2001 or 2, about that. Then I started using mobile phone 2005 because it took some time to reach out the whole country. First it started around the capital city, and then gradually they were able to reach out the whole country, or most of the country at least. Then in 2005 the first phone I got was 1600 Nokia 6100, if you know it, and it was completely inaccessible for the blind. It had only the service of voice call and text messages. No Bluetooth, no network connection, no memory card. So we had to ask the help of the sighted people to know who was calling, or the missed call, to find the contacts. sometimes we try to gauge things by counting the ups and downs, the left and right arrows, and also I use assigning ringtones for different people. These are the only service it had. First, why I preferred 1600 was that it would tell us the time when you long press the star key. One accessible thing, if you take it as an accessible point, only that, and another 1100 also would tell us the time when you long press the star key. That's why we blind people here preferred 1600 and 1100. Next to that came phones with FM. These two phones had no FM radio. And then slowly we proceed to those kinds of phones. So I used this phone for 3 years, from 2005 to 2008. And then I got another mobile, Nokia 6120 Classic, which was better, accessible. I could install Talks and Zoom, if you remember. So it was better. So I used that mobile again for, I think, 5 years until 2013. Then I got another almost similar phone, Nokia E5, and I used again that for 3 years till 2016. After that, I was able to find Samsung, I think, if I'm not mistaken, the years, Samsung J Prime and Samsung J7 or like that. And that I started using touch screen from that time onwards. Then I changed different phones from that on. CMix. Then I'm now using Patas P7. I think these are products from China. And now I'm using Android 10. So I use TalkBack. I use also Auto TTS, which helps us to read dual languages, because there is Amharic language, our native language, and English also. Speak TTS is used to read Amharic texts, and Eloquence is used to read English texts. That is, I think, my Android journey. If it was interview, I could cover a lot of things that I didn't touch now. And if there is any comments, I'm ready to listen from you. Goodbye for now.
Thank you so much, Harmonet. That was a beautiful story. And you know what? This is my favorite segment of the podcast because, we get to hear from people and get to know people. We put faces to those articles or those emails that we get on our mailing list. And this is a way for us as blind people to get to know each other. You hear their voices and you can relate to them and know that, hey, I'm hearing so and so. So this is why my Android Journey segment is my favorite. And so if you haven't submitted your Android Journey story, I am asking you to do so, and most especially if you could come on live, I think that is even better. But don't let that deter you. You could always record and send it to us, and we have so many of you on our mailing list, and I want to see us having so many Android Journey stories back to back. So, guys, get on that baby. Send us your Android Journey stories.
Yeah, and also not only that, but we can also learn how things are in the country. So, like here, we got to learn that the adoption of network was very late. So, we get to learn a lot more things. It's not only Android, so we get to learn about the countries and all those things.
Yep, that's it. Well, Austin, since we are now, I think, coming to the end of our podcast episode for today, would you then give our information as we close this week's episode out?
So, our information is to, if you have any questions, feedback, comments, or even if you want to send in your Android journey story, or you want to come live and demo something or whatever, you can send us an email to contact us at blindandroidusers.com, and that is our email address. Our website is blindandroidusers.com. Our mailing list, which is crossed 500 members, you can join that by sending an email to blind Android users plus subscribe at groups.io. Our Telegram group, which is now about 112 members, we will have the link in the show notes. You can follow us on Twitter by searching for blind droid users. Also, we'll have a profile link in the show notes, and you can click on that and follow us there. And don't forget our YouTube channel, which is growing a lot. It's at 85 subscribers, and you can just come there and subscribe there. And there's a feast of content, and now it's only going to be new content. So, what we are going to do, again, those who have not heard last week's episode or those who have forgotten, we are going to divide these episodes into small segments like the Android Basics segment, the In Focus segment, and all those, and upload them as individual videos on YouTube so that if people want to listen to shorter segments, they can listen to that whenever they want. And now, if you are coming live to demo something or to submit my Android journey, note that this is only an audio content, so there is no video required. So let me make that clear. So that is it from the both of us this week, and I hope our team members return next week and we have a full house.
Thank you so much, Austin. As always, guys, we appreciate you. And thanks again for joining us for this week. And we say goodbye for today, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, we'll see you next week.
And that has been another episode of the Blind Android Users Podcast. As always, we appreciate hearing from you. You send those email messages to contact us at blindandroidusers.com. For those My Android Journey stories, we encourage you to send those to myandroidjourney at blindandroidusers.com. Until we see you in our next episode, you have a wonderful day.